Well, each week, a group of insiders joins me to offer perspective on some of the week's top stories. This week, sounding off on Southern Indiana businessman Mike Braun winning the GOP Senate primary. IPL's big $600 million natural gas plant is online. They're also looking for a rate hike and some disturbing news on internet access in Indiana. Our insiders this week are Genovis executive managing partner Larry Gigerich, also education expert Robert Herzog, and Beck Communications President Laura Beck. And welcome one and all to the Insiders.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will start actually with the story that broke later in the week. Eli Lilly and Company making news with a major acquisition, $1.6 billion acquisition of a California company. Larry, as you look at that deal, again, a big deal and kind of keeping in line with Lilly looking strategically at opportunities to partner, collaborate, or in this case, acquire.
Yeah, I think, in the world we live in today, you either have to look at how you can build something and how quickly you can do it and for what cost, or you go out and buy it to move yourself forward very quickly. And I think, as we were talking earlier off camera, it's a big acquisition for them. They paid a pretty significant premium, but for them, it's a good move, especially when you look at how they're positioned with other competitors.
Yeah, I think they're behind a little bit in the immunotherapy, and this is a recognition that they got to catch up to speed. So what I know of them, and just reading literally since it was announced, they've got a good management team. I think the product line is really superior there. So hopefully in the long term it pays off. But the street seemed to have pretty positive before we went on. Lilly stock was still up, I think, nearly 2%. So looks to be the right move. They're catching up fast. And
certainly key will be these product launches. Dave Ricks told me a couple of weeks ago they've had 9 launches since late 2014, 6 more in the pipeline. So we'll see how that rolls. All right, Laura, the election. Are you rested up after the?
It's over. I think everyone needed a break after the barrage of advertisements.
Yeah, and the headline obviously is the GOP Senate race. Right. Mike Braun spent a lot of money. You saw him on TV. Obviously, a lot, and it paid off.
It did pay off. I think one of the things that Braun was able to do really effectively is that he was able to really chart a path between two long-standing establishment Republicans, even though Todd Rokita probably doesn't consider himself to be part of the establishment. But he was able really to cut a path there, and he was really able to speak to that Trump voter, those are the folks that came out during the primary. You tend to go in that direction in a primary. So I think what will come out of this is we'll see how much bad blood is left. I don't know how they're going to all come together. They'll ultimately have to. But on the other side, the Democrats stand pretty united. Senator Donnelly has a pretty strong bipartisan record at this point in time. And he's out there with the message that I'm the hired help. I don't work for anybody. And so I think that he's coming out of the gate strong, but it still is going to be a tough race.
Who do you think's the favorite?
I think Donnelly's the favorite based on the fact that he has had a good 6 years to prove himself. Sometimes Democrats are mad at him, sometimes Republicans are mad at him, and I think that means he's doing a good job.
Yeah, gotcha. Also big news this week, or actually within the last several weeks, IPL has christened its major new $600 million natural gas plant in Martinsville, Morgan County. It's a project that's been about 4 years in the making, diversifies their energy portfolio, lessens the dependence on coal-fired generation. Larry, as you look at this, a big part now is paying for it, and they're going after a rate increase, which would increase bills, I think, on average for a residential customer about $11.50 a month.
Well, I think clearly this new plant coming online is a very helpful thing to them as a business, and it does create a diversified portfolio into how they generate their energy. And from an environmental perspective, it's a very positive thing. The rate hike request, I would be shocked if it's approved at the level it's asked, especially given how many they've requested in a short period of time. But yes, clearly they have to have a way to pay for this and some other projects that they also have coming in the pipeline that they need to address.
Yeah, I want to get to a couple of developments in downtowns, because if you look around, Robert, around Indiana, downtowns are really beginning to come back in a number of areas. Let's go to Evansville with the new IU Med Center down there. Actually, several universities involved. $15 million gift to name it the Stone Family Center for Health Sciences. It's going to be a key part of revitalization in Evansville.
You know, it brings together so many things: healthcare, education, regionalization, downtown, which we talked a little bit about before. It's great to see for Evansville. There's other pockets of that's happening around the country. And I think it shows, you know, for us, as we talked about this earlier, the level of leadership that are in those cities, not only in the executive branch, but those city councils that know that, hey, we have to improve. We have to create the kind of space that people are going to want to not only make a living, but it be beneficial for, you know, investors to be able to get there. So it's really, really a good sign. I can't wait to get down to Evansville and see this.
Well,
seen it yet.
And the significant investment in downtown Fort Wayne has led to a number of things, including christening this week or opening this week a Ruth's Chris. I think Fort Wayne may be the smallest, or certainly one of the smallest markets in the country with a Ruth's Chris steakhouse.
Well, and this goes to show the level of leadership at the mayoral level. I mean, Mayor Tom Henry has been doing a terrific job there. But then when you also look at the Regional Economic Development Corporation up there too, they are all really working very closely together, and that growth is spilling over into other parts of the town. So you're seeing some new developments in Southeast Fort Wayne, which has had some has been historically underserved. So you're really seeing that, and then the other regions and the other towns around there are really starting to capitalize on it too.
Yeah, Northeast Indiana, the partnership there has really had a focus on talent and jobs, and really, I think, been kind of a leading effort in that regard. Governor Holcomb touting the early numbers on the Next Level Jobs Initiative, Larry, including increasing funding for that initiative. As you look at that, and there are a lot of areas of the whole workforce thing that need to be addressed. Your take?
Well, we have a lot of work to do in talent across the board. And as we look at our state, you know, that was one of the biggest challenges we have, whether it's educational attainment, adults in the workforce with credentials or certifications. It's a huge issue for us. The Next Level program is off to a good start. I think the fact that they are doubling the amount of grant dollars that are available per individual going through training and at a company level are very important, but there's a lot more to do, and I think it'll be very interesting to see what he puts in front of the legislature in this budget session that starts in January to address that issue.
Yeah. Tourism, the state is putting a lot of focus on that sector. Also, individual areas, southern Indiana, south central Indiana, really putting a lot of effort in. We saw news this week from Johnson County, 2017, $255 million economic impact in the county. So, so tourism has kind of quietly become this really big industry.
It is, and what you're also seeing too is visitors to Indiana spend $12.2 billion a year in Indiana, according to the state. And you're also seeing towns and communities, just like as we were talking about with Fort Wayne, really expanding on that. And so they're able to offer unique dining and tourism opportunities that are really bringing people in and really increasing that investment. It's exciting, I think, for us as a state to see that happening right now.
Hate to end kind of on a down note, but there was a study, I think it's important. It's a 5-county study, southern Indiana, Knox, Lawrence, Davies, Greene County, Martin County. Internet access was really bad. More than 20% of residents and 50% of businesses in that region don't have access.
Yeah, it's, you know, this is one we all have to do better. I mean, it has to be at the level of infrastructure. When we talk roads and bridges, that's where it has to be. And in Indiana, you know, education levels, median income, broadband, it just goes right in hand. We've got to find a way to address this with investment. And I know it's difficult at the State House and regionally to do that, but it just has to become that level of priority.
Yeah, talent and infrastructure are the building blocks for a successful economy, and we have a lot of work to do in both those areas.
And they shouldn't be difficult conversations. They really shouldn't be. And so I think when you go to the polls and when you vote, these are things that you should be voting on as well.
Very good. Laura Beck, Larry Gigerich, Robert Herzog, thanks one and all. We'll be right back after this.